Isekai anime usually consists of superpowered heroes, sword fights, and magic. Well, what if I told you there's an anime where the main character is as average as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and all he is capable of doing is cooking? Today, Animation is serving up a tasty recap of campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill. This anime snagged the silver medal in the Isekai category back in 2018, and we bow deep to Ren Eguchi for bringing this charming novel series to life. Don't worry, our recap is as safe from copyright troubles as you are sitting at home, savoring a well-cooked meal. Spoiler alert, if you're not up to date, you've been warned. Now chow down on this recap and savor the anime goodness. Let's go. Earlier, we witnessed Mukoda's extraordinary summoning into a world brimming with magic and swordplay. Now you might think he's there to join in the epic battles and cast grand spells, but note, because Mukoda is not your typical sword-swinging hero. Instead, he's got a skill that's so ridiculously convenient it might just make you jealous. Are you ready for this? His special skill is none other than online grocery.
What?
I can hear you asking, what kind of skill is that? But trust me, if I were in his shoes, I'd be thanking my lucky stars for this super convenient ability. Imagine ordering all your favorite groceries online in a world filled with adventures and magic. In the last episode, he joined a group of adventurers with the aim of crossing the kingdom's boundaries. That's where he made a rather unexpected acquaintance, Fel, a Fenrir, a massive wolf-like creature. The beast had been stealthily watching their every move, and once it caught a whiff of the mouth-watering feast Mukoda was cooking up, it just couldn't resist revealing itself in front of the entire party of adventurers. You see, Fenrir had an insatiable appetite for delicious food, and so he turned to Mukoda and made a rather peculiar request. He asked Mukoda to cook for him, and once he tasted the food, it was like a culinary love story come to life. Fenrir was head over paws for Mukoda's cooking. In fact, he loved it so much that he struck a deal with Mukoda. The terms: Mukoda would become Fenrir's personal chef, providing him with scrumptious meals every single day in exchange for protection. You could say it was a foodie's dream come true, and Fenrir wasn't taking no for an answer. The rest of the explorer gang was utterly flabbergasted, but secretly delighted by this unexpected twist. Now here we are, stepping into the heart of today's episode. Mukoda, fresh as a daisy after officially donning the title of Adventurer's Guild member, is embarking on his very first mission, which is herb collection. As Mukoda diligently goes about his green task, his trusty companion Fel transforms into a full-blown predator, scouring the wilderness for a meaty treat to satisfy his carnivorous cravings. But Fel was a bit worried because there's a lot of pesky monsters lurking. I mean, we wouldn't want our hero to become a monster's midnight snack, would we? So Fel steps up to the plate and whips out a nifty skill named Sora, effectively creating a magical barrier that ensures Mukoda's safety. With that security in place, Mukoda unleashes his appraisal skill, carefully identifying herbs and checking off his mission with the grace of a seasoned pro. And he does it without even breaking a sweat. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, lunchtime. Even though it might be a tad early for lunch, Mukoda decides to take the modern route. He orders ingredients from the Net supermarket to whip up a lip-smacking batch of spaghetti. Just looking at those ingredients is enough to get anyone excited, and to make things even better, Fel returns with a freshly caught rock bird. It seems that teriyaki from the previous episode won Fel's culinary heart, and now he's eager for more. Fel even mentions other prey he's caught that's been left at the forest's edge, adding to the culinary intrigue. Mukoda slices up the onions, tosses the pasta in boiling water, and brings all the ingredients together. And there you have it, a piping hot plate of spaghetti. It's a work of culinary art, smooth and also mouth-watering. Even with a bit of a meat shortage, it's enough to make Fel's tail wag with sheer excitement. And let's not forget the cheese. That's the secret weapon to elevate the spaghetti to another level. Honestly, watching this anime, you'd think it's a full-on cooking tutorial. If you've ever been clueless in the kitchen, Mukoda can be your new cooking sensei. And you know what? Mukoda may not have all the answers about how to get back to his world, but at least he can savor the familiar flavors he knows and loves. And when I saw that tasty pasta, it made me really want some spaghetti. Can you blame me for feeling that way? It looked absolutely mouth-watering, and I bet my stash of ramen noodles that you're craving some too.
Get in my belly!
Here comes a truly jaw-dropping moment for Mukoda. He's hit with an absolute mountain of meat, thanks to Fell's impressive hunting spree. I mean, we're talking a mountain of mouth-watering monster meat here. But oh boy, Mukoda can't help but worry about one thing. Are orcs actually edible? We've all seen how orcs are portrayed in modern media, and it's not exactly in a gourmet light.
That's nasty.
Mukoda swiftly stashes all the monster meat into his handy-dandy item box and heads off to the Adventurers Guild for delivery. And guess what? Fell decides to let Mukoda hop on his back for a wild ride. Mukoda goes from thrilled to near blurred face mode due to the breakneck speed of this mad dash. Finally, they arrive at the Adventurers Guild. The secretary girl at the guild is clearly impressed by Mukoda's ability to gather so many herbs, even as a G-rank newbie. She might just be Mukoda's potential love interest, but when she lays eyes on Fell, she does a complete 180 and there's some serious blushing going on. It's like she's fallen head over heels for our furry friend. Our hero Mukoda asks where he can butcher the meat since there's a ton to handle. He decides to bring all the monsters to the back of the guild, and his plan is to keep the meat for cooking meals for Fell and sell off the remaining monster parts to the guild. He pops the question to the butchers, wondering if he can snag some meat for dinner, and wouldn't you know it, both Fell and the butcher recommend trying orc meat. Mukoda manages to secure a small amount of orc meat for tonight's dinner while the butcher gets to work on processing the rest of the monster bounty. Just looking at the meat, it doesn't seem too shabby, sort of like pork. And here we are again at our favorite part, cooking time. So what's on the menu today? Mukoda is whipping up a pork piccata dish. Now pay close attention because here are the ingredients: cheese powder, parsley, eggs and some flour. First things first, slice that meat thinly. Then, add a sprinkle of salt and pepper. Beat the eggs and give the meat a light flour coating before dipping it in the egg. Cook it up to golden perfection. And voila, dinner is served, thanks to Mukoda, making it all look incredibly easy. Plus, there's still some leftover meat sauce from that mouth-watering spaghetti earlier, so they drizzle it on top. It looks incredibly delicious. In fact, it's so good that I started shouting, "Yummy!" Fell takes a bite, and we all know how much of a glutton he is. He loves it. Just when Mukoda is about to dig in, Fell reminds him that orc meat is even better than red boar. Mukoda is still a bit wary of orc meat, but with one bite in, he's now convinced that he's savoring premium pork. It's a classic case of don't judge a book by its cover, but in this case, it's a food version. Don't turn up your nose at a dish until you've tasted it. Fast forward to the next day, and Mukoda heads back to the butcher to collect his bounty. And boy, is it a haul, just look at all that meat. Mukoda ends up raking in 202 gold coins for his items, but he's utterly clueless about the market value of these goods. Thankfully, the butcher plays the role of educator, explaining the worth of the various items. Orc testicles are prized for stamina and health. Red boar skin can be transformed into leather, and tusks have their crafting uses. To top it off, the butcher even tosses in some magic stones from a rank and higher monsters. And you know what? I really appreciate how the butcher is portrayed here. In many other series, characters like him would be portrayed as unscrupulous individuals looking to take advantage of a clueless MC or rob them blind. But this butcher is genuinely kind and goes out of his way to explain the basics to Mukoda. It's a nice change of pace.
Thank you, kind sir.
Anyway, Mukoda realizes that being a nomad is the way to go. He learns that if he introduces Fel as a great white wolf, then they can avoid curious stares. On the journey, they take a spontaneous pit stop for dinner, and trust me, it's a real carnivore's delight. Thanks to Fel's monster hunting skills, Mukoda's got the gold to go big on this meal. He orders a mountain of meat online, but that's just the appetizer because Mukoda's donning the chef's hat and things are about to sizzle. In a delightful twist meatier than a juicy steak, Mukoda unveils a seemingly modest Japanese black Wagyu steak. But here's the kicker. This small piece of meat costs a whopping 2 shiny silver coins. This isn't your ordinary meat though. It's beef from the modern world. I really feel that in this fantasy realm, they don't dine on cows, which is why Fel's response to this revelation is absolutely priceless. He's utterly flabbergasted to learn that we raise cows here for meat. You see, in their world, they rely on hunting monsters for their carnivorous cravings, so the concept of cows is a delightful novelty for Fel. With Mukoda's culinary masterpiece before them, both Mukoda and Fel savor every bite, and what's even more astonishing is that Fel's convinced that every mouthful of Mukoda's cooking makes him feel stronger. He dreams of taking on the ancient dragon as if it's a mere appetizer. And just to drive home the point, Mukoda uses his appraisal skill on Fel, and let's just say the stats are pretty darn impressive. Almost off the charts. Now after their carnivorous feast, Fel isn't one to just sit around idly. Nope, he's got the itch for adventure, so he puts his Sora skill to good use and goes on a monster hunting spree while Mukoda gets all cozy in his makeshift bed. While Mukoda's off in dreamland, Fel's out there in the wild slaying monsters with style. Morning comes and Fel returns with an even grander haul of powerful monsters. Even a chimera falls victim to Fel's prowess. This time, it's a meat mountain and it's quite the feat. Mukoda realizes it's time to cut back on the Japanese black Wagyu beef for Fel. After all, even a wolf's gotta watch their waistline on this meaty journey. Hey, you still watching? Make sure to subscribe and smash that like button for a regular dose of awesome anime content. Honestly, this anime is incredibly tempting. It makes us curious about what Mukoda will cook up next. I'm sure there are more thrilling adventures in store, so be sure to stay tuned and watch this video all the way through. Before we dig into Mukoda's culinary creations, let's chat about the episode we just witnessed. It was another stellar installment of the series. The food, as always, was scrumptious, but the real showstopper was Fel's action-packed fight at the end. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, this isn't your run-of-the-mill Isekai. There's no humanoid form or seduction attempts from Fel, which is quite refreshing. Mukoda was pretty fortunate to escape that first kingdom, even though he isn't a powerhouse. It's hard to believe they let such a valuable and skilled MC slip through their fingers. And let's not forget to give a shout-out to Mappa for how they portrayed the dishes and the cooking process. The grand finale of Fel's fight was downright epic. We're crossing our fingers for even more of this in future episodes. Speaking of the unexpected, one of my favorite moments was when the roles were reversed. The humans were eating orcs. That's a departure from the usual fantasy trope, where orcs are the bad guys munching on humans. It's an idea that's never quite made it onto my anime menu, but I have to admit, I'd be a bit like our MC in that situation. Nervous, but willing. After all, you can't knock it if you don't try it, right? When you're faced with that situation, just close your eyes and hope for the best. I also love how Mukoda places so much trust in Fel, even when he's alone in the forest with only Fel's barrier for protection. We're only 3 episodes in, but the bond and camaraderie between these two characters are already well established. Now, I'm curious about your thoughts on this episode. Which dish had your taste buds tingling? Was it the spaghetti, the piccata dish, or that delicious Wagyu steak? Personally, I'd say all of them. What did you think of the orc meat for dinner? Were you as appalled as I was at first? What about the secretary girl and her furry fetish? That really surprised me. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation rolling. But before we wrap things up, here's a friendly reminder. Every clip you've seen in this video belongs to its rightful creators. Our goal is to have a genuine chat about this anime, to share our deep love for it with you, and to keep everything completely above board. So my fellow anime aficionados, stay tuned for more adventures that'll keep your curiosity burning brightly and your hunger for anime excitement fully satisfied. With every new episode, there's a whole world of wonder waiting to sweep us off our feet. Before we part ways, make sure to hit that like button, and if you made it all the way to the end with me, don't forget to comment a kitty cat. This is your anime sensei signing off.